this is Chelsea Rose, also known as Lucid Rose, and guess what? It's that time of year again. It's the Big 500 show. I've done videos on this in the past. I think this is like the third time I've done this art show. Yeah, and let me explain it to you. It's named 500 because that's how many artists participate, and each artist paints around 10 pieces for the show. So that's like 5,000 pieces of art. It's magnificent and very, very big, and I love it, and it's very fun. Each artist paints an 8x8 piece of wood panel, and that's awesome because since everybody's got the same material they're painting, everybody's got the same size, all the artwork is priced at the exact same price, which is really extremely reasonable price, really reasonable price at $40. So it's kind of a feeding frenzy at the opening, and I plan on videoing the opening for you so we can kind of snoop around and see what's sold, look what's been submitted this year. But I figured I'd first show you kind of a tour through my 10 pieces that I painted. I painted all of these with acrylic, and some of them are actually collaborations with my partner Danny. He does paper marbling. So there's that, and they're awesome. Hopefully you like them. And yeah, look, watch, look, yeah, do that, do the thing. I'm doing the thing, you do the thing, where you watch the thing that I do. Okay, bye. Okay, so I'm going to show you my pieces for the Big 500 show, kind of a painting tour, if you will. I have 10 pieces. This is the very first one I did. The first few that I did were collaborations with Danny Ebru. He does Turkish paper marbling. He also marbles all sorts of stuff, including wood, and he has 10 pieces in the Big 500 also. I let him marble all of my panels, actually, and then he got to choose whichever ones he liked best to keep. And then I got to choose some of the ones that he'd marbled that he didn't really love to paint stuff on as a collaboration. So this is the first one. He actually suggested I use this one as a damask wallpaper kind of thing and put one of my Victorian inspired mer creatures on it. So I really liked that suggestion and I went for it, and here it is. This is actually a drawing that I did with quill pen, I think last year at some point, and it was really cool to get to paint it and kind of flesh the idea out a little bit more. But so yeah, she's a Victorian inspired mermaid. She has an interesting little updo and little pearls and weird sea roses and stuff, and I really like her scaly neck, kind of hinting more at her mermaidiness, and these gills I placed to kind of give the feeling impression of a Victorian high collar, kind of like that. So that's the first one. Okay, the next one here is a mermaid having a nice relaxing bath in a cup of tea. Very spa-ish, very hot springs-ish. I love the hot springs and I love tea, and I always wish I could just crawl into my cup of tea and do exactly this. Just the nice relaxing with the sun coming through, getting her all sparkly. So this is also a collaboration with Danny, but it's very minimalistic with his paper marbling, or his marbling. It's only in the water. I only used his marbling to kind of give the impression of the tea water, and I really like the way it worked. You know, some teas have nice little types of oil in them, like bergamot and things of that nature, so when you do brew a cup of tea, you kind of do see sometimes this little oil slick, kind of interesting little textures and colors and rainbows. So I think this was really effective for creating the surface of the tea. So thank you, Danny. Yeah. Next one, I did a Victorian house. You know how I'm obsessed with them, and this one has nice little bay windows, and I used Danny's marbling as like a psychedelic sky kind of thing, and I put some creepy like alien floating eyeballs above the house, and I don't know, I tried to create a little atmosphere, a little environment. There's, you know, you can see the glow of the interior lights out on the lawn and on the tree here, and there's like a little cityscape in the background. Yeah. This, I think, is my favorite of our collaborations. This is just a really cool section of his marbling that I just put a crazy third eye water spirit on, and pat myself on the back for color choices, color concepts. I really think that she kind of glows, and then the pinkish magenta red that I put in the very inner portion of her scales kind of, you know, matches up pretty well with some of this in the background. And I tried to make her fins a little bit transparent so you could see some of the marbling through it, because, you know, sometimes fish have really cool little transparent fins and the like. This is so that's the last marbling one. These from here on out, these are all just acrylic paintings. And I'm obsessed. I'm completely obsessed with painting eyeball roses and face roses. So I thought I should do that here. I really played with texture a bit more. You probably can't see it from this angle, but there's a lot of paint build up on all of this. If you feel it, it's all pimply. Lots of texture. And I use a paint that is heavy body, so it really allows for texture to build. But I'm realizing you can really get a lot more texture quickly if you paint on wood panels versus canvas. So that was kind of cool to realize while painting on wood, because I don't normally paint on wood. Okay, here's this one. It's one of my tree spirit ladies. This is kind of a recreation of a painting I did for my cousin. My cousin just had her first baby, and I painted something like this for her nursery. I tried to make it as not creepy as possible, which I know is difficult. Some people think my work's pretty creepy, so I tried to make a very, very happy tree lady with a butterfly. I mean, come on, can't be creepy, right? And then kind of a cherry blossom-ish idea inspired by, with some falling blossoms. I really like kind of the buildup of blossoms on the base. And the sparkly glowy bits that come off of the fancy butterfly. This is a bunch of kind of like chrysalis kind of family creatures, like they're butterfly, cocoony, chrysalisy, and again, I really like the color choices here. Yeah. And each year I've put in one of my spine goddesses, but this time I chose to make her mermaidy, so she's got little scales on her butt and, you know, shoulders and stuff, with very pronounced scaling on her fin. And I noticed with all my other panels, a lot of them don't have really strong warm colors, so I chose to make this a very warm palette on this panel. So that's why the pink and the magenta, and then to kind of offset that and make your eyes do weird things, I put some light blue little spirally orbs. But you know, there you have it. A little badunk-a-dunk and some nice eyeball action. This is my most favorite one of all that I did. I'm very, very happy about this. It's I think it might be a new character that I do. I think I'm gonna call them tea monsters. But kind of abominable snow womanish, and also kind of insecty and Shiva-y with many arms. But look at all the little tea paraphernalia. She's holding a tea kettle and a teacup and a little saucer and a spoon. Yes. So I think she's inviting you for some tea. She's like, let's get out of the cold and go have a cup of tea. I don't know. Perhaps she stumbled upon you as you were freezing to death, and she is offering to revive you with a nice cuppa. And I had to do another one because I was obsessed with the first one. In this one I did a warm color palette, and lots of tea pouring. She's got 2 kettles this time and just a bunch of teacups, and she's just kind of not even paying attention to what she's doing apparently because the tea's spilling. But I do enjoy the yellow with the blue and the purple. It's fun. It's a fun palette, and I really like these tea monster gals. I hope you do as well. So that's it. Here's all of my panels. And since it's always fun to do a bit of a creative space long shot, here you go. Here's my little art corner. Kind of messy. Getting more and more planty lately too. Look at that up there. But anyway, let's take a look at the panels. I laid them all out. Here's the tea monsters. And the rest. Look at this little fun group here. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Okay, so there you have it, folks. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little painting tour of my pieces for the Big 500 show. I have to submit them by the 5th of December, so that's like in a couple days. So I'm gonna varnish them and get them all set and ready to go. And so stay tuned for the next installment of the Big 500, where I will go into the belly of the beast and video the opening. It'll be fun. And we'll look at all sorts of pretty artworks together. And whatever I don't sell, these pieces, I will be putting them up in my Etsy shop. So if you have like one that you really like, or you're kind of curious to see which ones sell and which don't, which ones will be made available, keep an eye on my Etsy shop, which you should be doing always in general anyway, in my opinion. So that is lucidopticlab.etsy.com. Lots of goodies in there, lots of button pins, lots of prints, lots of original watercolor paintings, and potentially soon some of my unsold Big 500 pieces. And you can also support me on Patreon. That's patreon.com/ChelseaRoseArts. You can decide however much or little you'd like to contribute monthly so that I can continue painting and drinking tea and making these silly little videos for you to watch and enjoy. On a daily basis, I am posting at Chelsea Rose Arts on my Facebook page, as well as Lucid Rose on Instagram, so be sure to follow me and like my stoof. You know, that'd be awesome. Okay, thank you for the support. Much love. Bye bye.